Good. Yeah.
Well, after a little bit of technical difficulties, we are back this week. My name is Anthony Gingrossi with Dynamic Colors, co-founder and owner of the company. Since 2001, we're a full-service, award-winning EPA Lead Safe certified company based in Evanston, Illinois, service north side of Chicago, North Shore, all the way up into the Lake County area of Mundelein, Vernon Hills. Today we are going to be we're getting into our exterior season, so we're going to talk about different products used on different surfaces on the exterior of your home. We'll talk a little bit about preparation, some primers, and then some top coats that we can apply to different substrates. To your right, my left, is Jason from JC Licht, and my right, your left, is Brian from Rust-Oleum. They'll introduce themselves quickly, and then we'll kind of get right into it and start talking about the products that we have here, and we will bring them up in front, talk about the different products, what surfaces, and what temperatures we should use them in, and then we'll go on to the next one. So, Jason?
Thanks for joining us again. Jason Figueroa with JC Licht Company. Been working for JC Licht for about 16 years now, and I'm excited to be part of this Facebook Live venture here.
Brian Holtz with Rust-Oleum. Again, I've been with Rust-Oleum almost 5 years, been in coatings for almost 18 years. So, yeah.
Let's get into it. So, I think the first part and the most important part of any process, of any project, especially exterior, is preparation. And the key in that preparation is to make sure that surface is clean before you actually kind of start the preparation. So, as both gentlemen can attest to here, is that what you don't want to do if somebody starts on the outside of a house, you don't want to start scraping either power sanding or power grinding right into a surface immediately, because why? Why should you clean it first?
Because any type of prep that you're doing, whether it be a power tool or a scrape of any sort, you're actually going to drive dirt into the substrate rather than remove. So you do want to make sure that surface is clean first, then come back.
So if you're driving dirt into a substrate, what does that cause? What kind of problem does that cause with some of these products that we're talking about?
It's going to cause really adhesion failure.
Right. So that's the key part of it, adhesion failure. You may think you're doing it right, but if you're driving dirt and grime and dust and debris into the substrate before you start cleaning anything, no matter how well your preparation is, these products we talk about, or any product, won't adhere properly to the surface that you're prepping. So our process is we'll clean it first, then we'll do our scraping and power sanding, then we'll clean it again. And that's when you get into the priming and caulking. So it's a two-step process. So when I meet with clients, I tell them we'll do that first step first, the cleaning, and then get into all the preparation. So to get through these, what we're going to talk about first is some different primers that you can use on different surfaces. So this is where Brian's going to jump in. We'll bring the product up here. He'll describe the product, kind of tell you what surfaces can be used on, some preparation that's involved with it, and temperatures, when to not use it. So go for it.
Yeah, so really, I mean, Anthony kind of talked about preparation, and we don't want to take that too lightly because, like we said, that's really what makes the job and what's going to give you that longest lasting job that you're looking for. I will tell you, probably about 95% of all failures that I go on are prep related. As products are manufactured, they go through a quite stringent quality control. So the chances of it being a product per se failure doesn't really happen very often. I'm not going to say it doesn't because it's still manufacturing, but typically it does boil down to prep. So that's why we're
And I jump in, it's all prep. So some homeowners will ask me, well, what's the difference between 1 and 2 coats? Is it going to last longer if I put 2 coats more than 1 coat? I said it doesn't matter. It's all in the preparation. If that surface is not prepped properly, you can put 10 coats on there. It's not going to last any longer than 1 to 10 coats or 2 coats or 3 coats. It needs to be prepped properly. So that's the key when you're putting this, the sealer, the primer underneath, is to make sure it's prepped, put the sealer, and then your top coat.
Yeah, and I'll jump into the 2 primers that we're going to talk about today. These are really designed to be problem solvers. Again, not catastrophic failures or anything like that, but surface imperfections, hairline cracks, things like that. These products are designed for that.
So can you give some ideas? What do we have up here first?
So this is our XIM peel bond.
So what kind of different surfaces can we use that on?
This can be used on almost any surface.
Any surface, okay.
New, old wood, previously painted surfaces, metal, galvanizing, fiberglass, stucco.
Is there anything you wouldn't use it on that you can think of? No?
Honestly, no.
Okay, that's good.
But it serves its place.
Right.
Because as we get into it, so what this does, this is a very high build primer. This is designed to go on up to 40 mils wet. So 40 mils is, if you take 40 dollar bills and stack them up, that's how thick you can spray this product on wet without sagging on a vertical surface. Okay. So what this actually does, if you have an older home or if you have some alligatoring paint or scaling paint of sorts, you can actually apply this to smooth out that surface. So it'll prime it, it'll seal it, and then smooth out the surface so when you put your top coat, you don't see those undulations that happen from alligatoring. Or from if you've got multiple layers of coating that you've scraped down, you've got some areas where it goes down to bare wood, some areas where it's got 2 or 3 layers of paint, you can apply this to make it, again, uniform. So that you now have it back to a smooth surface. So if you think of a house that's 100 years old that's been painted 10 times, if you look down that area, you kind of see these imperfections.
Right.
This will help smooth that out so that you don't see them, and it gives it a more fresh, new look. This also will fill in cracks. This remains flexible, so if you got hairline cracks and things like that, you don't have to worry about that broadcasting through because this will fill and then move with that crack. The only caveat with this is your top coat. You must use either an elastomeric or a high-quality acrylic because those do flex as well.
Right.
So as that substrate moves, as that crack moves, as this product moves, whatever's on top needs to be able to move as well.
Right.
And your hard alkyds and urethanes and epoxies will not move, so then they would splinter or alligator.
Okay. When to apply, when not to apply? Different temperatures, moisture?
Yeah, so 50 degrees up to 110. I will tell you at 110, I wouldn't recommend it. It will do it. I would say 90 degrees is probably that threshold.
Right.
But in certain climates, there's times when you can't, it's going to be hot.
Right.
So always try to work out of the sun or away from the sun, not in direct sunlight, because as that sun hits the substrate, it will heat up the surface as well. So when I say it goes up to 110 outside ambient temperature, but also surface temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're painting metal, like this can go on metal, and it's 100 degrees out and the sun's hitting it, you test it, it might be 130 degrees.
Right.
So you got to be careful of temperature when you're looking at it. We don't want any rain for the first 8 hours. This will dry the touch in about an hour or two. You can top coat it with an acrylic in about 4 hours. So, I mean, it's pretty...
So when you say ideally rain not within 8 hours, that's your cure time. Dry, 1 to 2 hours touch, you're talking
Yep.
5 to 6 hours cure.
Yep, unless you coat it.
Okay.
So, if you're priming this today and then you're going to paint tomorrow,
Yep.
Prime today, then we might make sure we don't have any weather, rain, or even dew within the first 4 to 6 hours. After
Right.
that, it'll be fine.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on.
One other thing. This does it goes on. It dries clear. It does go on milky white. We can add about 2 ounces of tint to this too if we want to help with color for the top coat.
Okay.
Okay.
And as both Jason and Brian can attest to, there are thousands of different coatings for thousands of different surfaces. So we just kind of chose what we know works well, that I worked with, that these guys have worked with, that the contractors they know they've worked with, that perform well in the field. So that's why we just chose these 6 here. So
Yep.
we're going to continue to go through the primers. We're going to do 3 primers and 3 top coats that would work with these 3 primers. So the next primer.
So the next primer is is the Rust-Oleum Commercial Universal Acrylic Primer. By universal, a lot of people think that means it can go on anything. It's universally accepting going on top of something. For this, it's actually universal. It will accept any top coat. So like we talked about, the peel bond has to have an acrylic or an elastomeric, something flexible.
Mm-hmm.
This will accept your acrylics, your alkyds, your epoxies, and your urethanes. So it's a nice all-in-one single component water-based coating to accept multitudes of top coats. Nice thing about this too is it is rust inhibitive, so if there's any surface rust that you have that you've prepped, again we go back to prep, so we want to have tightly adhering rust, this will block it. This will allow it not to come through your top coat. This will hold back mold and mildew. This can go on drywall, wood, metal, really a number of substrates.
Anything you don't recommend it for?
Really pitted rust or mill scale on steel.
Okay.
That needs to be prepped and smoothed out. But otherwise, yes. Yes, and it will block some stains as well. So this is a water-based coating, so it will block oil-based stains. So if you've got nicotine or something like that, it can do that.
When I say stain, like a wood stain, like if you got a deck or something, or
Yes, yeah. If you've got a deck, I wouldn't put this on a horizontal surface. Actually, that would be my caveat.
So you don't walk. Okay.
So you really don't want to walk on this, but for vertical surface. But if you've got a stained exterior and you want a spot primer, you want to do a full prime, you don't have to worry about that coming through. Correct.
Okay.
Dries the touch in about a half hour.
Right.
Recoat in 2 hours, If you are going to use one of those high-performance coatings like a urethane or an epoxy, we do ask overnight, so about 24 hours to top coat. But after 2 hours, you can put another water-based or an oil-based on top of this.
Okay. Temp?
Temperature, same thing. It is a
Okay.
water-based. It is 50 degrees up to 90 degrees for this.
Okay. Okay. It's great.
Okay?
Move on to the next one. We got,
So those are our primers.
right.
So now once we've got the surface prepped and primed, now we can go into coating. So we've got 4 coatings that we're going to talk about. First one is our Rust-Oleum Sierra Beyond. This is a high-performance acrylic. So again, we can top coat it. Either one of these primers that we talked about, we can top coat with the Sierra Beyond. This comes in a satin and a gloss finish. This lays out smooth like you sprayed. So if you're looking for something, whether it be windows, trim, doors, walls, whatever you want, as you're applying, you're going to get a little stipple from the brush or the roller, but once it dries and sets up, it actually lays out smooth. So it does look like you've kind of sprayed that surface. This is tack-free in 30 minutes, recoat in about 2 hours.
Okay.
So we can do all the tint bases, so any custom colors that you're looking for, we can do it. And like I said, satin and gloss for the products.
Okay.
The nice thing about this too is it's 0 VOC, 0 HAPs, so there are no volatile organic compounds in the product, and there's no hazardous air pollutants being released into the air. So we could be having this Facebook Live, and someone could be painting back here, and we really wouldn't know, except we'd see them painting, but you wouldn't smell it. So you don't have that typical paint smell that you get when you think about painting your house. So environmentally friendly, and if you have little children or people that are pregnant, things like that, this is a perfect product to use.
It's a good product for it, too.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So that's 3 different primers. Now we're going to talk about top coats that Brian briefly talked about. Jason will give some information about the different top coats that can use on these different primers or other surfaces too. So
Just move this can just a little over this way here. So what we got here is Benjamin Moore line of exterior coatings, and obviously we're going to talk about this because it's exterior season. Everyone's probably anxious to get the exterior of their houses painted and looking good again. So the Regal Select exterior has been around for a long time. Comes in a flat finish, low luster, and a soft gloss. These are all 100% acrylic exterior coatings. They're great coatings for wood, cardboard, vinyl, aluminum siding, masonry, properly prepared stucco, and primed metal surfaces. This product here, it will cover approximately 300 to 400 square feet, depending on the porosity and the texture of the surface that you're going on. You definitely want to make sure that the surface that you're applying these coatings to is over 40 degrees and not exceeding 75 to 80 degrees. This product here is going to dry to touch in 3 to 4 hours. Your recoat time is going to be 4 hours.
So let me ask really quick, both of you guys, it's 30 degrees outside and I want to go out and paint my house and I want to use one of these primers, use one of these paints, and it's 30 and it drops down to 18 degrees that night. What's the result? What's going to happen?
If during the curing process, which if this goes down to 40, it has to stay 40 throughout that time, so those 3 to 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But at 40 degrees, it'll actually slow that drying time, so that 3 to 4, maybe 5 to 6 or 6 to 8. And if it does drop below that, since these are water-based, you can actually get crystallization that can form on the coating or on the film itself, and you can get some color bleed and get some adhesion.
So that's something a homeowner, what I'm trying to get to is what can a homeowner look for? They have a contractor at their house and they're using a product and it's getting too late or too early in the season, and they say, it's okay, we can go ahead and apply this. But then they come outside and they take a look and they're looking for something visual on the surface that was just prepped or painted with primed or paint. What they can be looking for crystallization, some sort of discolorization to say, hey, we got a problem here. I should not be seeing this. This must have been applied when it was too cold.
You probably wouldn't see it. You'd see it the next day.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It wouldn't be something that would be immediate.
Right.
It would be something the next morning. You'd either see color bleed, so it almost looked like the color is weeping down the side. That means there's early moisture penetration.
Okay.
If it's cold, then yeah, you would see these kind of little crystals, microscopic, but it would kind of alter the sheen a little bit. If you're looking at an angle, you'd see these kind of little crystallizations, like almost small. ice.
So would you say if one day it's 60 degrees outside and they're painting, and the next day it's 35 or 40 and temps drop overnight from what they painted one day to the next day, you would see that difference?
There could be an issue.
There could be,
Yeah.
so you would
Machine
see that.
difference.
So if someone's looking at it, they're curious about what's going on here. Hey, why is this so different? That can be assured they applied it in the wrong temperatures.
Yep.
Right.
And that's something we always ask too, and the nice thing with the internet is you can always check back and see what the weather was.
Right.
Because paint's not smart. Paint is designed to just go on and
Right.
it'll dry. So if something happens where one side looks good and the next side doesn't, well,
What happened?
What happened?
Right.
And what caused it?
Right.
And what do you look for? Let's say if there's moisture. Let's say they apply this. We apply any of these products, and it rains within that time frame of where we need that to dry or cure. What's a homeowner looking for?
So that's where you see the color weeping.
Mhm.
You'll also see possibly some sagging or some runs in the coating itself.
Okay.
Because what's happening with those 3 to 4 hours, the reason that every paint tells you what the time is, what that time frame is, because if you come back on it too soon, it may feel dry to the touch, and you put another coat on top of it, you're actually re-wetting that surface,
Mhm.
and you could actually pull coating off rather than
Right.
just putting on top and
Yep.
building the millage.
Right.
Right. Okay. So Jason, this product can be used on any of these that
Yeah,
we talked
absolutely.
about there?
Compatible with any of the two
Okay.
primers that we talked about here with the Rust-Oleum
Yeah,
coatings for sure.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. The next one. What do we have here?
All right, so the next one is also part of the Regal Select Exterior brand, but this is a high build coating. So this product is very similar to the Morguard that we just talked about. This is a little bit different in coverage. So this coating here is going to cover approximately 250 to 300 square feet. It is a high build coating, so it's like putting 2 coats on at once. The nice thing about using a coating like this is it will hide minor surface imperfections, it will bridge minor gaps, and it really cuts back on the labor. So nobody really likes to get up to the peaks on their house and have to paint it twice. This here will take care of that, and it'll basically put 2 coats on at once, as long as
Okay.
you're putting it on at the proper mill thickness.
Right.
This coating is going to dry to touch in about an hour. It's safe to recoat after 4 hours. Again, it can be applied to wood, properly prepared stucco, metal, basically any substrate that we just talked about with the Morguard line. So it's very similar to it. They're all tinted with the Gen X waterborne colorants. They're available. This product line is also available in flat, low luster, and a soft gloss. That's really it about this product here.
Okay.
You know, you got labor savings in this one here. You
Right.
definitely want to apply this one also when it's above 40 degrees.
Right. We use this product a lot. The high build.
So, last but not least is the very best exterior coating on the market, Aura. This product here comes in a flat finish, a low luster, a satin finish, and a semi-gloss for exteriors. It's a very unique coating. It also is a high build. It tints with the Gen X colorants, but what makes this product pretty unique compared to any other product is it has what's called color lock technology. And basically what that means is it's going to give you the longest lasting color, and it's going to retain the color for a long time, basically. So what makes it a little bit different is the way that the tint mixes with the resin on this product. So what happens on most coatings, the colorant itself just kind of sticks itself to the resin, and you basically glue that down onto the surface, and that's where you get your color.
Okay.
With Aura, it's pretty interesting. This product, the resin actually becomes embedded with the colorant, which gives it that long-lasting color retention.
Right.
So high build coating, great, long-lasting, can stick to just about any surface. Properly prepared steel. Yeah, it's a workhorse for us. We sell a lot of Aura exterior, and anyone painting the exterior of your house, I would definitely recommend this product to you.
Coverage.
Coverage, you're going to get roughly around 300 to 350 square feet
Okay.
per gallon. You don't want to apply this again below
So it's
40 degrees.
Same application.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
very similar, but
Right.
the uniqueness about this is the color retention. And
Right.
anything you're painting outside, you definitely don't want to be repainting it very often because it's costly and it's labor intensive. So this is a great product for you to
Right.
to
And
use on your
Universal
house.
works again with the 2 primers that we talked about.
Absolutely. Everything we
Okay.
chose today was just because it all works well together. So
Right. I think that's important to know too, is to make sure you're using, number 1, the correct product on the correct surface, and number 2, 2 products that can work well together.
Yep.
You know, that's very important. You know, you don't want to put a top coat that doesn't work with the primer, or put the primer on a surface that's not supposed to be primed, and then you put a top coat over the top of it. That can add to the issues of stuff not adhering, or longevity or durability of the product.
And I would add, if you're not sure about adhesion, or if you're not sure about will this product work on this surface, obviously talk to the manufacturer, talk to the paint store, but you can also do an adhesion test. So you can take either one of these primers and put it on the surface that you're going to do, let it sit for about 5 days, come back through with a razor blade and put an X in it, and then take masking tape and press that into the surface, and then give it a quick tug. And if you have about 10% or less of loss of what you cut and sacrificed, then you have good adhesion. If not, then that primer that you chose may
It's
not
not
be the way
correct.
to go.
Right. Right. So, like I talked about when we started this, there are a lot of different products that you can use on a lot of different surfaces, and we can't get through all those. Just trying to kind of give you an overview of some of the products we think are important that you can use on a bunch of different surfaces that we know that work well. So, I mean, that's all we have for this week. For this episode of our Facebook Live. Next week, we're talking about some stains, different stains we can use on houses and porches and decks and stuff like that. So that'll be our next Facebook Live, and I thank for everybody joining us. Until then, have a good month.
Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you. All right. Easy enough, right?